All right, hello everyone, and welcome back to Bitch Time, the most informative show in the nation. Today's episode, again, another top 5 for you, because that's what the people like to hear. All right, my videos keep ascending in view count, so I gotta respect that. So today is last week we were blind ranking NBA dick sizes. Today we're listing the top 5 cities that you should kill yourself in. Now, I've never killed myself, but I have thought quite a bit about the best cities to do it in and the most iconic and legacy building type places that you could do it at. Because that's very important. The place where you die is pretty important. Okay, so honorable mention before we get into the top 5. Honorable mention is Casberg-Vignoble in France. Now, I admittedly know nothing of this city. I am only including this city on this list because this city, which I'm not going to try to pronounce again, is the place where Anthony Bourdain took his own life. Now, the thing about Anthony Bourdain, man knew where to eat. He knew where to drink. He knew where to hang out. He knew all the best spots everywhere. So I'd like to imagine that Anthony Bourdain would also know the best spot to kill yourself. And apparently that was Casberg-Vignoble. I'll give it another shot. France. So that's staying in the honorable mentions because, I've given a lot of thought to this and I have my own. But you got to respect the legends. And Anthony Bourdain was one of those. So rest in peace, Anthony. Hopefully, I'll get to take a selfie with you in heaven after I kill myself. After that, we have the number 5. The 5th best city to kill yourself in has to be Berlin, Germany. This kind of represents just a general type of city. Berlin's the one I chose, but just a very hedonistic European, Western European party town. I was also thinking, what about Prague? I guess that's kind of Eastern. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Prague, Barcelona, but ultimately I ended up on Berlin just because Berlin is the epicenter of just like piss fetish culture. And if you're gonna go out in the most hedonistic way, you might as well go to the most disgusting city that does that kind of thing, and I think that's Berlin. What's the name? Is it Bahrain or some shit? That club where they put stickers and tape over your cameras and let people piss on each other. It really goes to show just the power of exclusivity. I don't know why I said that word like I'm slow, but exclusivity. I got a good flow. I'm articulate. Maybe. But needless to say, because apparently everyone wants to get into this place, there's lines around the block of people who will just never get in. And it's one of those things where it's like, okay, yeah. What do you really want to see I'm sure some attractive, some very unattractive people urinating on each other? I don't want that. Let the piss fetish people have their thing. Let them feel cool and important. Actually, no. Why did I say that? That's the opposite of what I want. Let them have their thing, but don't make them feel cool or important because they're like, we have our club where we do our piss fetish. I don't know why I can't do a German accent unless I go full. And even then, you could argue that's an Austrian accent. There's probably a little difference between those anyway, but who cares? Yeah, Berlin. Number 5, just doing pills and getting pissed on. I imagine most clubs in Berlin are like that scene in Basic Instinct when Michael Douglas is just walking through the bathroom of that club and sees just the bathroom stall door open up and Sharon Stone's in there doing drugs and also maybe having soft lesbian sex with a woman in there and just makes eye contact with him. He's like, yeah, I'm the woman of your dreams and your nightmares. Deal with it. Here I am doing this. That's what I imagine that is. And I don't know. That's maybe not my style. That's not where I'd want to go out, but I can respect it, you know. Also, I imagine Berlin. I have no way of backing this up, but I would not be surprised if Berlin is the city that has the most deaths due to autoerotic asphyxiation per year. Just a little, I don't know, again, there's no research to back that up, or at least none that I've sought out, but just gives off that vibe that you know, choke yourself to death jerking off. It's a choke yourself to death jerking off kind of city. Berlin. All right. So, number 4 after Berlin, number 4 is Toledo, Ohio. And yet again, this is another city that's kind of just represents a broad group of cities, which is just the most depressing, just middle of nowhere, mid-size, like small to mid-size city. The kind of place that has like a AA baseball team, and they have a ECHL team, which is like AA baseball, but for hockey, like the same level, but hockey. But it's different because like in baseball, even the best players, they still start them out in rookie ball and make them work their way through all of them. Whereas the NHL, most of the best players never play a fucking game in the ECHL. It's just the guys that are going to be selling insurance in like 3 years. So they have one of those teams, the Toledo Walleye. Yeah, I think it might have been this team. It could have been a different one, but it might as well have been the Toledo Walleye. They once played a game. One team was wearing a SpongeBob jersey, and the other team was wearing a Patrick jersey. I imagine there were probably a few suicides in Toledo that night, and it was most of the roster of the Walleye that year after they walked out onto the ice, thinking about the little boy inside of them that they once were, that dreamed of playing in the National Hockey League. They dominated every level from youth to junior or whatever, and one day you've never even sniffed the NHL, and you're just walking out onto the ice dressed like SpongeBob SquarePants about to play a game, being a third line left winger for the Toledo Walleye in the East Coast Hockey League. That makes me want to kill myself thinking about that. You know, because there are different types of suicides. There's like the Hunter S. Thompson kind of suicide where, you know, you're just a crazy motherfucker that's lived a long life and kind of you've just eroded your brain with drug usage and your life's miserable and you're like, fuck it, I've done it. I've done it. I don't need to do it anymore. This is hell. And then you just blow your head off, you know? The Toledo, this is like the city where in your shitty like split level house on the outskirts of town, you seal up the garage and leave the car running, just crying in your garage as you slowly fade out after you found out that your wife, the only lady that you ever slept with, has been cheating on you the entire time. Toledo, that's where you do that kind of suicide. That's where you go for that, 'cause you live there. So I guess Toledo just kind of represents the shitty town that you're from that you never escaped. And so yeah, number 4, Toledo, Ohio. Now number 3, we're getting a little bit more exotic here. Number 3 is Chiang Mai. Pardon me if I pronounced that incorrectly, but Chiang Mai, Thailand. And I should say that this isn't also just places to kill yourself. Places to kill yourself or just die unexpectedly. Like kill yourself or go missing in. That's what it should be. Best places to kill yourself or go missing in. And Chiang Mai is one of those, because you know Thailand. You know what everyone has to say about Thailand. The Mecca for sex tourism, Thailand. Now originally I wanted to put Bangkok, but that's just too easy. It's the big city. I think what is a lot funnier and more humorous place to go out is a place like Chiang Mai, which is the much less famous third largest city in Thailand. So it kind of gives the impression that this ain't your first rodeo. You've been coming to Thailand for a while. You've seen all parts of Bangkok. You've fucked every ladyboy there that doesn't have AIDS that you know of, although you've been losing weight and not dieting or exercising. Who knows? But yeah, so you've seen everything that Thailand has to offer. So you're like, no, let's go to the north of the country. Let's see what else was going on here. And then maybe even Cambodia would be better. To be like, I've seen Thailand. Let's check out the neighbors, Cambodia. And then you realize the pussy ain't as good there, but the drugs are, and you just dive face first into a plate of some shit. Cambodia, that's a pretty sick place to die to, in honor of like Henry Kissinger or some shit. Um, so number two, the number two best city to kill yourself. Now this isn't a city entirely. I just want to say it's the Gaza Strip. Now the Gaza Strip, like Mobile, Alabama, is bigger than the Gaza Strip. So it basically is a city, which is kind of funny and fucked up when you think about it that way. Because when they're like, oh yeah, we're about to start bombing Gaza City, evacuate and flee to the south to Rafah. That's essentially being like, oh, we're gonna bomb the north side of Mobile, Alabama. Seek shelter and refuge in the south side of Mobile, Alabama. It's just like, okay, and they're just playing this game of cat and mouse, just bombing them across fucking Mobile, Alabama. That's literally what they're doing, pretty much. So, but yeah, I mean, might as well go out as a martyr. That's the thing, Gaza Strip. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to take too many drugs. You don't have to swallow a bullet. You don't have to inhale excess fumes and gases that take you out. You just got to hang around for a while. They'll call in a drone strike. Everyone leaves. You don't. You go out a martyr, and a bunch of women who lived in tents arbitrarily over the summer will honor you for a week and then forget about you, and then forget about the whole thing in like a year when the next chic liberal thing to care about comes about. Yeah, number two, Gaza Strip. Just I don't know. You might starve to death before you get blown up, though. That is a consideration, and that might not be fun. I don't mind getting blown up, just as long as I'm not. It's not like, whoa, what's gonna happen? Am I gonna starve or am I gonna get blown up? No, I want to be full and then just get blown up. Yeah, number one though. Number one city. It's kind of I'm sorry to disappoint. It's a boring answer, but it's Las Vegas. What other fucking city is there, I don't know. Everyone read or most likely watched Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, and you're like, yeah, that's the place to do it. It's a place to just have the most wild bender, lose all of your money, get banned from a tiki bar, can get into a fight with some Latin gang members. Yeah, I don't know, just go around just being like, fucking Cypress Hill sucks, fool. Gang, gang, MS-13, homie. Hey, we're gonna fuck you up. Because, again, this is another thing. It's like, I don't really have much to talk about Las Vegas. Everyone knows about Las Vegas. Like, oh, yeah, it's fucking Sin City. Prostitution's legal. They don't put balconies on the hotels there because people who lose all their money will fucking jump off. Be like, my wife is leaving me for sure. Blew Timmy's college fund on hookers and roulette. Time to jump off the fucking balcony. Kind of funny, I like how Vegas hotel and casino designers, or whoever came up with that idea, was like, no balconies. We're like, oh yeah, well, you can always just pack a gun on your trip, or a belt. Everyone has a belt. And there is a coat rack. I've never seen a hotel room without a coat rack. And you got a belt. So, I don't think... I don't know. It was honestly probably not in an effort to save lives. It was because it's just easier to clean up a body that's just hanging from a belt tied to a coat rack than it is to scrape the body off of the pavement. That's more difficult. So I get that's probably why it was more of a convenience of cleanup kind of precautionary measure. So yeah, but number one is Las Vegas. I don't know what else. I mean, I can think of nothing better than to kill yourself after a Chris Angel show. That's what you gotta do. You gotta go to Vegas, do nothing. Just go to one strip club, sit in the very back and cry. Any woman that comes by, you just be like, no, I don't want a lap dance. I don't want a lap dance. And then you just go to the Chris Angel show. And in the middle of the show, you go, "Hey, Chris, my mind's about to freak too." And then you blow your brains out at the Chris Angel show in front of all the emo 45-year-old women who want to fuck Chris Angel. So, this has been Bitch Time. Top 5 cities to kill yourself in. Represent.